Here we are in northwest Venezuela, flying over the mythical Andes and about to land at Merida Airport. In approximately 50 miles, we'll reach the El Pedregal cocoa plantation. El Pedregal is located in the Lake Maracaibo region, nearby the village of El Vigia, in the heart of the Sur del Lago basin. This is not only a land of farming, but also a flourishing business center, where the cocoa plays a major role in commercial exchanges. We're driving along the exotic Pan-American Highway, the famous road that runs across all South America. The El Pedregal plantation produces a very rare variety of cocoa beans, whose origins date back to the dawn of time. This long work was not carried out in vain, as Valrhona was able to save this exceptional species which was about to die out. The name of this extremely rare and precious variety of cocoa tree is Porcelana. The cocoa tree, noblesse oblige, is an extremely fragile tree. Grows in the humidity of the tropics between 10 degrees latitude north or south of the equator. Though it's able to grow at sea level, its preferred altitude is between 1,300 and 2,000 feet, temperatures of more than 70 degrees Fahrenheit. This noble tree must be shaded from the sun, in the shadow of larger and more robust trees. The banana tree is particularly adapted to this task and is often found protecting the cocoa tree. Here at El Pedregal, every element contributes to the exceptional quality of the porcelana. Climate, the natural fertility of the soil, appropriate rainfall, and a perfect geographical location at the foot of the mountains. There are three main families of cocoa trees. The Criollo, which produces exceptional quality, high aromatic and not very bitter beans. The more common and fuller flavored Forastero, and the Trinitario, a hybrid of the two. El Pedregal is mostly planted with Criollos. The very essence of the cocoa tree is the highly prized cocoa pod. The pods are born from fertilized flowers, which need 6 months of flowering to grow and ripen. The pods are variable in size, ranging in weight from 7 ounces to almost 2 pounds. At El Pedregal, the pods are mostly yellow and green, but can also be red in color. The plantation spread over some 450 acres. The rocks guard this magical kingdom. To preserve the quality of its precious fruit, the porcelana must be protected day and night. The pickers move around the plantation by tractor. The harvest is the first stage in the cocoa production process. In the plantations, the cocoa trees are pruned to between 10 and 15 feet to make the pods easier to reach when harvested. There are 3 tools for harvesting, all in use for over a century. The machete and secateurs for the most accessible pods. And a hook-shaped tool for the higher fruits. The 3 methods all require precise movements and careful concentration. The sound produced is characteristic of the maturity of the pod. A skilled picker can harvest as many as 1,500 pods in one day. The pods are then placed in sacks. Pickers leave the sacks by the roadside. They weigh over 100 pounds each. These sacks, which are the results of a hard day's work, are then taken to the plantation by tractor. The second stage in the process is the shelling of the beans. The fruit is opened using a club in a quick gesture to preserve its precious treasure. This apparently simple gesture is in fact extremely precise and requires great skill. A co-worker simultaneously removes the beans from the pod. A pod can contain up to 40 beans, protected by a sweet white fleshy pulp called mucilage. 30 pods will give an average of 2 pounds of dry beans. After the beans are removed from the fruit, they're fermented. The beans are poured into wooden cases. The sweet pulp ferments naturally. reducing the bitterness and astringency of the beans and developing the first notions of future flavors. This stage brings out the characteristic brown color of the beans. This natural fermentation process has remained unchanged for hundreds of years. Fermentation was already being practiced in the 9th century to prepare the drink of the gods. In these ancient times, Quetzalcoatl, the priest god of the Toltec people, taught his subjects how to prepare Xolcoatl, the forerunner of chocolate. In 1502, Christopher Columbus was the first to discover this precious beverage, but didn't appreciate its importance. 17 years later, the Spaniard Hernan Cortés arrived in Mexico. The Aztecs mistook him for the god Quetzalcoatl, and Moctezuma welcomed him as such. Cortés nevertheless annihilated the Aztec civilization and got hold of the precious drink. Celebrated by his queen, Cortés made a triumphant return to his country. Although Spain had a monopoly on chocolate for many years, it didn't take long for its popularity to spread across the whole of Europe. Back to El Padrigal. The next stage is drying. The beans still contain 60% humidity. At El Padrigal, they're spread out to dry in the sun in special drying areas for over 2 weeks. This method, the most qualitative, is necessary for the production of porcelana. After they've been stored, the beans are calibrated in this machine. They're classified according to their size. They contain approximately 50% natural cocoa butter. Very strict quality controls are carried out at all stages of production. Here, the number of beans is being checked according to their weight. For 3.5 ounces, there must be between 10 and 12 beans. After being calibrated, the beans are sorted by hand. The slightest foreign element, stone or pod fragment, is rejected. Women, who are often considered to be more meticulous, are mostly employed for this task. This is extremely important, painstaking work to ensure the resulting cocoa is of the highest quality. The name porcelana, a measure of supreme quality, is handwritten on the sacks leaving for Europe. The beans are placed in sacks. The sacks are weighed. Each one must weigh 130 pounds. Then they're sewn up. Once the precious cargo is loaded, the voyage begins on the mythical Pan-American highway to the port of La Guardia, almost 400 miles away. For these sacks of porcelana beans, this is the start of the cocoa route. The long boat trip ends in Le Havre, where the precious sacks are again loaded into trucks. This is the Valrhona chocolate factory, located in the middle of the famous vineyards of the Rhone Valley, in Tain-l'Hermitage, close to Lyon, in the south of France. Our sacks of porcelana have now reached their destination. First, the beans are checked. If the quality is not up to standard, the beans cannot be used in Porcelana del Pedregal chocolate. Roasting is the first stage in the industrial process. The beans are placed in this machine called a roaster to bring out their first flavors. Valrhona proudly uses the same antique machinery they've maintained over the years, guaranteeing the famous Valrhona taste. Then the beans are checked again. These machines break up the beans and remove their thin shells. Then there's a carefully measured addition, sugar, which when blended with the nibs makes chocolate. For milk chocolate, you need to add milk. The mixture is blended in this machine until it forms a homogeneous paste. The paste is then ground and refined between rollers before conching. Conching slowly mixes the chocolate to remove its acidity and develop its ultimate flavor. The newly made chocolate is then molded. It's in these molds that it takes on its final shape. These are Valrhona's famous squares. The company also makes many other products, developed with the same constant drive for quality and with one single obsession, maintaining the perfect flavor. Valrhona produces chocolate couverture for the most famous pastry chefs and confectioner customers. Valrhona Febs, bean-shaped chocolates, are also dedicated to professional customers to make their work easier when preparing recipes. Valrhona's chocolate bonbons are very popular among the general public. Here, the chocolate is decorated with gold powder. The workers' movements are very precise. Concentration is essential. This is the work of real goldsmiths. In these very traditional turbines, hazelnuts and almonds are coated with chocolate. To make praliné, once again, precision and attention to detail are essential at every stage. The taste is without contest, exceptional. This is one of the company's shops, close to the chocolate factory.
Je mets de la pâte d'amande. Oui, mettez de la pâte d'amande. J'en ai à la pistache, je sais pas si c'est en pistache.
The product range is quite large, with a great deal of variety. Here you see our Porcelana del Pedregal in its final packaging. Valrhona chocolate is recognized at the tables of connoisseurs in more than 64 countries, just like in this excellent restaurant. Grand Chocolat is foremost a pleasure for everyone. The first mission of the Valrhona company is to supply the best chocolates to master pastry chefs and confectioners around the world.
La boutique date de 1902, c'est mon arrière-grand-père qui l'a créée, donc je ne me sens pas spécialement investi d'une mission, mais par contre responsable d'une continuité dans ce qu'on nous a légué à travers mon grand-père et mon père. C'est d'ailleurs pas pour rien que l'arrière-grand-père est là-bas sur le mur du fond, et en enfilade sur les plans de travail. Donc et je l'ai toujours dit aux collaborateurs, on a quand même l'impression qu'il est là pour surveiller un peu ce qui se passe. Donc ça, pour nous, c'est important.
Here we're in Embrun with Luc Herrier, whose reputation travels well beyond the confines of his little town. Luc Herrier organizes small chocolate-related conferences for his clientele about the history and production of chocolate. They've proven to be hugely successful.
Aujourd'hui encore, lorsque vous allez dans les Caraïbes, vous trouvez ce genre de choses-là, qui sert à fabriquer du chocolat chaud. Et cette chose-là s'appelle toujours bâtonnet de chocolat à l'espagnol.
Back to Tain-l'Hermitage. At the very heart of its head office, Valrhona has created the École du Grand Chocolat, its official training organization for master pastry chefs and confectioners keen to learn and exchange new recipes. Every year, some 800 fascinating and passionate professionals come from around the world to share ideas and get creative together. Here, chocolate is employed with love and respect. There are 3 watchwords in this place which has now become an international institution: taste, quality and creativity.
Avant de déguster, David, on pourrait juste reparler, on va parler des fourrages chocolat. Donc on a les 1000 grammes de géant du Jin, oui. C'est ça?
Oui.
Et 20%, donc 200 grammes.
200 grammes de beurre liquide.
On se goûte ça.
Ça fait gras, mais à la fois ça fond tout de suite dans la bouche.
On n'a pas une bouche, on n'a pas une fin de bouche grasse.
Non, ouais, tout à fait. On sent très fondant, très agréable. On n'a pas l'impression du tout que c'est rempli on va dire, de géant du Jin foisonné avec du beurre. Ça fond très facilement dans la bouche.
Marketing is the company's strategic core. It's a creative job where the definition of new trends is an endless task. Subject of today's meeting is the launch of a new product made from porcelana.
Aujourd'hui, le consommateur est de plus en plus citoyen, il recherche la qualité et aussi la traçabilité. Alors au niveau de traçabilité, Valrhona, bien sûr, c'est avant tout la recherche des meilleures origines, mais pas gratuitement. C'est toujours au service du goût et de la qualité du produit. Et ça, nos clients artisans l'ont bien compris, c'est pour ça qu'ils recherchent eux-mêmes les meilleures matières premières. Donc, notre boulot, c'est d'arriver à ce que la qualité du cacao se retrouve dans la qualité de l'entremets des artisans pâtissiers. Donc on peut dire que Valrhona, c'est une entreprise d'avenir qui s'inscrit dans le monde de la gastronomie d'aujourd'hui et de demain.
Achieving the best possible quality is the result of many essential taste tests throughout the production process. We're in the temple of sensorial analysis, where over 170 people come every week to taste both cocos as well as finished products. All 5 senses are necessary in order to judge the quality of a chocolate. The selection criteria are many and varied.
On épicé quand même, et sinon aucun défaut. Le chocolat pour tout le monde, c'est du plaisir, en général. Notre mission, c'est de traduire ce qu'est la notion de plaisir pour le consommateur en critères qui soient mesurables et comparables. Donc quand on dit analyse sensorielle, on pense en général au goût, on pense éventuellement aux saveurs, mais il faut penser aussi au toucher et au visuel. Donc la première étape, c'est un examen des produits, donc on regarde s'il est bien brillant, si sa couleur est foncée, si elle est plutôt claire. Chaque chocolat a ses propres caractéristiques et on doit savoir les reconnaître en tant qu'expert. Ensuite, on va s'intéresser à la manière dont il craque. Quand on le met en bouche, on le mord, il doit craquer d'une certaine façon. Et puis ensuite, on va faire l'analyse, le descriptif de tout ce que l'on ressent. Donc on va ressentir des saveurs, c'est l'amer, le salé, le sucré, ça arrive, qu'on ait du salé dans le chocolat. L'amertume, très très importante. L'acidité aussi, la caractéristique de certaines origines. Et puis après, tout notre savoir-faire est d'avoir écrit des mots et d'arriver à mettre des sensations en relation avec des mots. Il faut qu'on soit capable tous de dire la même chose. Quand on dit que c'est fruité, c'est un fruité fruit rouge, c'est un fruité fruit jaune, c'est des fruits mûrs. C'est très très important parce que chacun de nos cacaos va avoir sa propre caractéristique.
Back to Venezuela, on the Pan-American Highway. The culture and history of Valrhona encompasses the philosophy of sustainable development. The factory, as well as in the plantations, Valrhona is committed to preserve the environment and to promote long-term partnerships with suppliers and employees, guaranteeing the best quality products. Thus, at El Pedregal, controlled cultivation required by the high quality of Porcelana responds perfectly to the environmental requirements of sustainable development, sustainable agriculture.
Regarde celle-là, elle est magnifique, regarde ça.
Ah ouais, bah tu vois, ouais.
Elles sont belles. Hein.
Il faut qu'elle soit bien blanche. Tu vois là, elle est bien blanche.
Ah
hein.
ouais,
Elle est
super.
superbe. Donc on va bien planter la radicelle vers le bas pour le développement de la racine. On laisse un peu ressortir la graine pour la germination. Voilà, c'est prêt, donc ça reste comme ça 3 mois en pépinière et puis après ça part pour la plantation. Quoi. Donc après 3 semaines de semis, tu vas avoir une petite plante jeune. Avec...
Et ça, c'est la fève qu'on a plantée tout à l'heure là.
Voilà, exactement.
Year upon year, young trees are planted to ensure the continuation of the plantation and to guarantee that Porcelana's high quality is maintained. Inside, the men carry a lasting heritage handed down from generation to generation. But thanks to new learning, they adapt their methods to optimize the potential of the varieties being cultivated. After shelling, the empty pods are used to make natural compost. They're left to ferment in special areas. Once they've decomposed, this compost becomes a natural fertilizer, also used to nourish the weakened cacao trees. The cacao trees are regularly pruned to synchronize their development. At Valrhona plantations, we don't use insecticide. We use a vinegar solution to attract and capture harmful insects and the minuscule cacao tree parasites. Jean-François Darguin created El Pedregal 10 years ago. It's he who rediscovered Porcelana, this precious variety that was dying out. Valrhona also works with plantation owners who want to produce quality beans over time. This is a partnership to which both partners are committed and from which both have a lot to gain. Today, along with Ruben, he is meeting Manuel, a small producer who's come to sell his cocoa beans. Chocolate also represents the meeting of two worlds, north and south. Once again, the quality is checked. The weight of the sacks is verified. The sacks pass the test. Manuel's production conforms to the criteria Valrhona's looking for. This is a Grand Cru. In the Sur del Lago basin, Valrhona plays a very important social role as the natural partner for small producers. The El Pedregal plantation sells cocoa beans from more than 2,000 of them, and including their families and indirect labor, guarantees a livelihood for over 10,000 people. These exchanges occur within the framework of national and international law. In the heart of the production zone, Valrhona has even set up a permanent collection center in the field to buy direct from small producers, allowing them to profit from the full value of their beans and cut out any intermediaries. Some very long relationships are developed over time between these people.
Este es cacao porcionalizado.
Luis has been working at El Pedregal for 10 years. After a day's work, he goes home to his wife and 4 children. His job at the plantation means he can more than provide for his family. Luis earns significantly more than the average Venezuelan salary and also benefits from Social Security, healthcare and a pension scheme, all rare in this country. El Pedregal allows Luis to ensure the well-being of his family and means he can count on a better future for his children.
Tan especial para hacer una canción. Eres tú y a grito abierto lo digo, y si lo dudas pregúntale al corazón. ¿Cómo no voy a decir que me gustas? ¿Cómo no voy a decir que eres centro de atracción? Si por primera vez cuando aquel día te miré, mi alma tranquila tuvo un síntoma de amor. ¿Cómo no voy a decir que me gustas? ¿Cómo no voy a decir que eres centro de atracción? Si por primera vez cuando aquel día te miré, mi alma tranquila tuvo un síntoma de amor.